Hi, my name's Andy, and I'm going to talk about being a friend of God and then being a friend of people. First of all, being a friend of God. Because Jesus said, I no longer call you servants, but friends. And that's a mystery we could spend our whole lives exploring, I suspect. Come with me to the Rhine Valley at the beginning of the 14th century. And we'll meet there Meister Eckhart. He's a monk and a mystic, and he's thought about this stuff a lot. And Eckhart says, when you meet with God, don't act like you're meeting your business partner or a merchant. With those people, you bargain. If I give you something, you'll do something for me. He called it do ut des, which is Latin for I give in order that you may give. Tit for tat, if you'll pardon the language. And that, says Eckhart, is not how God, our friend, wants to deal with us. It's not that if I please God, God will do good things for me, or that God has done good things for me, so now I need to obey God to somehow pay God back. No, it's not like that at all. There is nothing you could do that could make God love you more than he does right now. He already loves you 100%. And there is nothing you could ever do that could make God love you less than he does right now, because his love is unconditional. So if God isn't the kind of person who relates to us by do ut des, I give in order that you may give, how does God relate to us? Eckhart says it's do das gratis, which means I freely give, you freely give. Do you see the difference? Actually, you do things to please God, but it's not because you have to, or because God will punish you if you don't, or because God will reward you in some special way because you do. It's just because you love God. And God does do things that make you happy, but not in order to make you do what God wants or to reward you for being good in the past. Friendship with God is gratis. It's free. It's generous non-reciprocity, as some theologians put it. Giving without demanding anything in return, receiving without feeling guilty or obliged to return the favor. There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother, and that friend is Jesus. Close to you now, close to you in whatever place you're watching the ordinary office, not confined to church buildings and not waiting until you get your act together. Can you look at your hands for me for a moment? If you're able, can you clench a fist? With your hand like that, you can receive nothing and give nothing. And now, if you can, relax your hand. Open like this. Now you can give and you can receive freely, freely. Freely receiving, freely giving, a friend of the God who is friends with you. So much for God. Now, how can I be a friend of people? Well, weirdly enough, in exactly the same way. Open-handed, free. I can't make someone be a friend, and if I try, that isn't real friendship. If someone offers me friendship, I can accept it with no obligation as the gift that it is. If I offer someone friendship, I will give to them my attention and time and regard and loyalty, and I can ask them to be my friend without compulsion. You don't make friends, actually. You can just be a friend and see if they're a friend too. And if I appreciate a friend, I should tell them. Love that is concealed is no use to anyone, the verses we've just heard from Proverbs say. So go on, tell them you're glad that they're your friend. What's the worst that could happen? Being a friend, it seems to me, is all about speech and silence. A friend communicates with you and tells you the truth, even if it's hard to hear. And they hear the truth in turn, because that's part of friendship. That's what Proverbs means when it talks about the wounds of a friend's words. But friendship goes beyond words. So friends do things for each other and also able to sit in companionable silence, which is another thing we can learn in prayer and then apply to human friends, or indeed vice versa. Friendship can be a bit hit and miss, can't it? And I think that's precisely because it can't be managed or controlled. One who has unreliable companions soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother, says Proverbs. Yeah, that's true, but till you get to know them, you can't tell who the unreliable companions are and who the true friend is. Truth is, I'm probably somewhere halfway between for my friends. Half of the time I'm an unreliable companion and I'm bringing them ruin, and half the time I'm a friend sticking closer than a brother. Maybe you're the same. So we just have to accept that and see that there's some learning to do and be quite forgiving with other people when they have some learning to do as well. And one last thing. Please don't fall for the lie that online friends aren't real friends. Now, of course, there are abusive people who hide behind false names and avatars online, and we should be rightfully careful about that. But then sadly, there are people who would abuse and misuse you in the offline world as well. It is entirely possible to be real friends entirely online, and don't let anyone tell you the contrary. And although, of course, the ordinary office can't provide the intimacy of a one-to-one relationship, there is friendship here, freely offered, freely received. If you can't sleep one night and you say night prayer with the ordinary office, you know that others around the world, and almost certainly Dave, are clicking on the same link and saying the same prayers, and you are not alone. This is not a live stream that I'm offering you of some service that it's some sermon that I'm giving offline somewhere. I'm speaking to you online now. And I don't see how you and I are any less church than people who are in the same building. A network of friendship with open hands, freely offering one another what we have across the generations and across the miles, in the presence of Jesus, the friend who sticks closer than a brother. That seems worthwhile to me.